My name is Emily. Hello, everybody. I am currently living in Wellington, studying at Victoria Uni, but I am originally from Tasmania in Australia, the little island at the bottom. But my parents are Kiwis, so I definitely feel at home here. I have been out of school for about 4 years, and I've been traveling and living and working overseas and doing other things. I did a tourism diploma, and I was really just trying to figure out what I wanted to study at uni. And after a series of events, I ended up living here in New Zealand, and I'm loving it so far. I love Wellington, particularly just because of like the nature and because of all the events going on and the good food. And it's just got a really cool vibe about it, as I'm sure many of you know. So that's me right now. Yeah.
Cool, amazing. Yeah, I guess going back to your gap year, when did you first realize that that was something that you wanted to do?
I knew very early on in high school that I wanted a gap year. I have three older siblings who are 8 and 10 years older than me. So I kind of got to see what they did first and, learn from their mistakes. And I think they wish they had gone traveling before they started university and got into other things. And so I always knew I wanted to travel. Like I grew up coming to New Zealand all of my life, and just loved the feeling of being in a new place and experiencing new things. And I knew that I had that itch in me, like it just wasn't going to work to go straight into university. So I seriously started planning and saving in around year 11 in Australia, which is the equivalent to year 12 here in New Zealand. And that was always what I wanted to do. Like no one could have stopped me. And I initially thought I would go to university after I came back from that first gap year or OE traveling. Yeah. But that didn't happen. I did actually go to uni in Tassie and did a diploma, but it wasn't a bachelor's degree because I just wasn't set on what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to go to university if I didn't think that study was going to be beneficial for my future career. So I ended up just traveling again, and one gap year turned into 4 gap years. And I have no regrets about that, especially with COVID. I'm so grateful that I've seen the world and experienced other things, because now tourism and going forward travel is going to look a lot different for a while. So I think I accidentally did it in the right order.
Yeah, for sure. I saw you also worked as a tour guide, right? So how did that all come about?
When I went traveling in 2017, it was like a big round the world trip, but I did spend a few months in Europe, and I did a few little tours with this company called Bus About, and I loved it. And I always wanted to be a guide. I just didn't think it was going to happen for a really long time, because I love people and talking and traveling. And so I was like, great, this combines, all my favorite things. But I saw them advertise for a role coming up for the 2019 guiding season. And at the time, I was only 19. So I really didn't think I was going to get it, because I was a baby, leading big groups. But I got an interview. So I flew up to Sydney, and then ended up landing the job, which was like incredible. So I went over to Europe in March 2019, and I worked for 6 months as a guide all around Europe, like on a hop on, hop off bus tour schedule, as well as I led the Spain and Portugal tours, which is really amazing. But leading groups of up to 50 people, it's a big role and you learn a lot, and I loved it. But it consumes you. It is your life. But it's also really cool because you get to, travel for free and meet all these amazing people. So I did that, and it was really one of the best experiences ever. I learned a lot, but I also don't want to dwell on it too much. I want to enjoy where I'm at right now, because I think you can get almost too nostalgic sometimes and be like, oh, the good old days. But I don't want to live my life like that. Every experience is a good experience. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Were there any highlights, like any favorite countries or cities that you visited?
Oh, so many. I hate when people ask me this question, because I should have an answer prepared by now. I've been asked so many times, but I don't. I did get to work on Tomorrowland, which is a huge festival that happens in Belgium. I'm sure you've seen photos, and that was incredible. But I Loved Switzerland, definitely. Just the scenery and the history and the way the country runs. This is Europe in particular. But other places like Poland took me by surprise as well. And Edinburgh. Edinburgh in Scotland is a really cool city. Finally, southern Spain, especially like Granada and Sevilla. If you ever get to go there, definitely do that. There's just so much culture. But as you can see, I cannot give you a straight answer, and I never will be able to. And that's just Europe. But yeah.
That's all good. Yeah. So after that, is that when you went back to Australia?
Yeah. So I finished working October 2019. I did some travel afterwards. So I was able to save a bit of money through the season, which was great. And I wasn't really expecting it. So I ended up going to Iceland and Egypt and Copenhagen before I came back, spent a few weeks in Australia over my birthday, seeing mum and dad, seeing my friends. And then I actually moved to our family batch on the Coromandel. So I lived there for like 5 months working at a really cool hospo place there. Met some amazing people, and it's like my favorite place in the world. So that was meant to be an in-between season situation. I was going to go back to Europe and guide in 2020, but obviously that didn't happen. But that's okay. I'm happy how it all worked out, and I wouldn't be living here right now if it didn't all happen like that. Yeah,
for sure. So I guess I saw in one of your videos you did talk about like kind of why you chose to come to New Zealand, but how did you end up choosing like Wellington and Victoria Uni?
So yeah, it was never the plan to study here. I actually was enrolled in a course in Australia, but then they increased my fees, and so the perks of being a dual citizen, I decided to come here. And so I thought, oh, wow, like I don't actually know heaps about New Zealand unis. Like I'd heard people talk about them. I mean, I'd heard about like the party scene at Otago and then, but not for me. So I was like, all right, I need to actually just Google and talk to people that I know and figure out what's right for me. Even though all my family, extended family, are in Auckland, I just automatically knew I didn't want to study there just because to me, it didn't have, I've lived there before for 6 months in 2020, and it just didn't have that student vibe that I wanted. And being a really big city, a lot more commercialized, and it just didn't interest me, especially coming from Tassie. Auckland isn't even a big city, but it's still a step up from Tassie. And it just wasn't what I was looking for. So that kind of ruled out Auckland. And then I did apply for Canterbury and Christchurch, but quickly realized I just didn't want to be on the South Island because I did want to be close to my family. Another option was Massey. My parents actually met at Massey in Palmerston North. So they were like, continue on the legacy. But I just knew I didn't want to be there in particular. And so Vic was one of the options left. And like I'd heard so many cool things about Wellington, because my mum grew up in the Manawatu. She had lots of advice for me, and she thought, yeah, you'd really fit in there, you'd suit it there. And I looked into Victoria and the commerce degree, and it seemed to have a good reputation. So that's why I ended up here, still in the North Island, but at a good uni in a brand new place.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense because you're doing like public policy as well, right?
Yeah.
So that's capital. And like
Exactly. I was actually going to go to ANU in Canberra, so like the Australian capital, to study policy, but now I've just like swapped over to New Zealand, which is funny because it's a whole different system. Like it's really makes it a different degree in some ways, but I'm still really enjoying it.
I definitely think Wellington is such a cool city, like
yeah,
probably one of the best if you're going to be a student. Do you have any favorite spots so far, like anywhere that you really enjoyed? Or
oh, there's so many. I just love walking and running around all the bays, like around Island Bay, Lyell Bay, Evans Bay, Oriental Bay. Just being by the water is my favorite. And like even where I'm looking out now from my flat, I can see like the town belt and all the greenery. So I just love hikes. I love hiking and walking and running. So anywhere where I can do that. Gosh, food wise, there's just so many good food spots as well. I have like them all listed on my Google Maps
Yeah.
where I want to eat. I think it's Mr. Goes.
Yeah.
Really good Asian food there. And there's good coffee everywhere to be found. But yeah, there's still so many spots I want to check out. I've done the Mount Coco hike a few times at sunrise, which is gorgeous because you can see across to like the South Island and everything. But yeah, I could keep going on. I'm not a very decisive person, so I can't give you just one answer.
Yeah, that's all good. So had you been to Wellington before, or was it kind of your first time?
Yeah, I came as a kid a few times because we visited family in Palmerston North. We would come here. So as I was growing up, we would come to Wellington to go to Te Papa. And I remember walking up to the Mount Vic lookout, but that's really all I have. And the last time I came, I was 12. So, 10 years ago now. So I didn't really have a proper understanding of what the city was like.
Yeah, I guess it would have been pretty tough, right? Because you kind of move by yourself.
I mean, parts of it were hard. I definitely learned a lot about myself in a negative way, like what I need to get better at. But at the same time, I'm very used to being independent. When you start traveling alone at 18, you quickly learn how to enjoy your own company and have those street smarts. And I'm really lucky to have good mental health. So a support system. I can always contact my family if I need to, even though they're in different countries. So I just try and have perspective on everything and realize this is a big thing to do, but it's all right. Like, I know I can do it, and reach out to people if you need to have a chat. Because I think we expect people just to ask us heaps of questions all the time, but they've got their own lives too. Yeah. So I think, so it has been challenging in the sense of, oh wow, like I want to go out and meet new people, but like even last night I was at home and it was a Saturday night at home, and I was like, I'm still not at that point yet where I feel kind of comfortable messaging someone to be like, let's hang out on a Saturday night. So it's just getting to know people, finding where I fit in the city is always going to be a challenge for anyone. It doesn't matter how confident you are. But yeah, I've definitely had good things and bad things about the move, but overall, I just kind of did it. Yeah,
I think that's one of the best things about doing a gap year. Like, you have that life experience. Like, definitely. I can't imagine moving to a new city like as an 18-year-old, like not knowing anyone, not knowing anything.
Yeah, definitely. You learn how to build up that confidence because you don't really have any other choice. Like, you have to learn how to talk to new people and figure things out on your own rather than complaining to your friends or whatever. So it definitely helps that, you don't even have to travel to learn things like that. It's even like go volunteer locally or go join a new club or like go away on your own for a few days to a place nearby. Like, it doesn't have to be this crazy epic trip, which in reality isn't going to happen for most of us over the next few years. I think you can definitely like build up confidence in other more accessible ways just nearby.
Yeah, for sure. I guess now going into YouTube, like what kind of inspired you to start a channel and start posting videos?
Yeah, well, my content has just really been on a bit of a roller coaster, but initially I started making videos to share my traveling. So I think I started my channel the start of 2019. So I was just posting very infrequently, just where I had been, more like travel film videos. And then I started sharing more travel advice. So it was really in relation to that. But then after that, my content started to move more into talking about my faith and spirituality and more like, I suppose, self-help advice. And now it's flipped again because I'm more so sharing my life in New Zealand and what that's looked like with university and moving over here and just how to live a really adventurous, full life right where you are, with in particular focus for me, like faith at the center of it all. So it's really been on a bit of a roller coaster. And honestly, I'm still trying to figure out my exact niche. But I'm having fun doing it, and people recently have been really enjoying it. So I think overall it's just my channel and content is just about like living a full life as a 20 something year old and finding your way and what that looks like. And, you know, that can relate to more lifestyle content or also just having adventures from day to day, I think is the mindset that I just want to take. And I want other people to try because it changes so much when you just try and find joy in the little things in whatever way that looks like, whether you're navigating uni or you go on a morning hike or, you know, you're working on improving yourself or your health, you know. So as you can see, it's very broad and I'm trying to hone in and really find that exact kind of mission statement, I suppose. But that's where it started, was just sharing my travels like a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like even myself, like looking back at my old videos, you can really see like how far you've come, and then just looking back at all the memories.
Oh yeah. I semi hate watching my old videos, but because it's just so cringy, as you know, but it's also awesome to look back on it and see what you did there and remind yourself of those memories and then, yeah, see how much you've improved. And yeah.
Yeah, I guess just finally, I like to ask about people, like about where they're from. So I know obviously you grew up in Tasmania. Since we can kind of travel now, like maybe going there, do you have any recommendations or things to do, like places to visit?
Oh, so many. And this is great timing because Air New Zealand have just started a service from Auckland to Hobart. So no one has any excuses anymore. Tassie is such an incredible island. Like many people compare it to New Zealand. And that's more so just because some of the scenery is very similar and like the culture, the people there, I think there's a real focus on community, which is very similar to, I think, the New Zealand way of life as well, which I love and why my parents love it too and why they moved there. But as far as places to see, hang on a sec, let me get up my list because I don't want to forget key places. Or if you are traveling to Tasmania, the best thing to do is to hire a car or a camper, and don't think you can see it all in 2 days. Like you definitely need a good 2 weeks at least to really discover it. But 2/3 of the state is protected, whether that's national park or World Wilderness Heritage Area or reserves. So there's so many great hikes. Definitely go to Freycinet Peninsula. You can't miss that. It's where Wineglass Bay is. The Mount Amos hike is like short but rewarding and hard. Also, if you're going on the East Coast, the Bay of Fires is beautiful. Hobart has really good food and nightlife, and everyone loves Mona down in Hobart as well, which has kind of put Tassie on the map. It's just this museum started by this guy, David Walsh. If you're going up north, if you pass through Launceston, that's where I'm from. Most people just pass through it, but definitely still check out the Cataract Gorge. It's like right in the city. It was kind of my like watering hole growing up, you know. Up towards the northwest, Stanley and Boat Harbour are like gems that people just skip over, but beautiful water, beautiful views. I'm trying to make sure if I haven't missed anything. Oh, and also if you go down towards Hobart, the Tasman Peninsula is awesome. Great hikes around there. And also go check out Port Arthur because that shows a lot of the history in Tassie with the convicts that came in and also some other recent events. Tassie has a really dark history. So it's really interesting to learn about, also kind of devastating, but yeah, that whole area has a lot of history there. So I could go on and on and on. I'm such a Tassie advocate, but yeah, definitely go visit. You will not regret it. You'll probably be surprised that people don't talk about it more. It is, I think more people are starting to realize, oh, Tassie's actually got something going on, you know, it's becoming more mainstream, which is both a good thing for the tourism and a bad thing because, you know, we kind of want to keep it secret, but definitely go visit. Yeah, Tassie's an awesome place.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think people kind of forget about it. Like,
oh yeah,
like I've been to Australia, but I've never been to Tasmania, so I definitely want to go there.
Oh yeah, you should, and you're not alone. So many people. It's just Sydney, Melbourne, or New Zealanders, especially the Gold Coast, and Tassie's a whole nother world. So, but very much worth checking out. So let me know when you go there. I'll give you some more detailed, less rambly suggestions.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it from me. Thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time.
you. No, it's awesome. I love what you're doing as well. Interviewing people about their experiences is so cool. So yeah, like all the best with all your content. I will be watching.
Yeah, you too. I feel like you have really good quality videos, so your channel's gonna blow up, I reckon.
We'll see. Hopefully, maybe. I just want to keep enjoying it. And if I'm enjoying it, people on the other side will enjoy it. So that's my philosophy at the moment.
Amazing. Yeah, I'll put your links down below so everyone can go check your YouTube out and subscribe. And yeah, that's it from me. Have a good day.
Yeah, you
Good
too,
to meet you.
Catherine. Lovely to meet
All right.
you.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.